police. The moment he set his feet in a court, it ceases to be the business of the police, because it is either he is set free or given bail or sent to us for custody. So as at the time he was with us, he had one feet inside with us and another feet outside. So that was why it was the judiciary that stepped up to come out with a public notice instead of us. But they did it in consultation with us. We allowed them to do that because they are second on the line of the justice chain. After the police, we have the judiciary, and after the judiciary, we have the Sierra Leone Correctional Service. So we had a meeting with them, with the judiciary, yesterday. Our Director General, Deputy, and Director of Human Resources were there along with the police, and they came up with a joint public notice which was circulated on social media. And
for what offense has he been brought to the correctional service?
For larceny. We learned he escaped from a quarantine home somewhere around Guard Street, Kawyad specifically, as it is called. He told us that he escaped from a quarantine home. That was after he was admitted in a sick bay inside the Paremba Correctional Center, because we have a sick bay there, which some people refer to as a hospital, but it's too small to be referred to as a hospital, so I prefer to call it sick bay. So he was there. Obviously, we couldn't have concluded that it was COVID-19, because apparently before COVID-19 set feet into the world, we've been having people who have been falling ill of tuberculosis, who have been sneezing all over the place, and who have been having fever as well. So we couldn't have just concluded that it was COVID-19, especially given the fact that when he was at our gate, we tested him with the thermometer gone, and his temperature was below 36. And before going in, he washed his hands properly before he was eventually put into the remand section.
Right, but having gone through all of those processes, it's obvious that he was a COVID-19 patient. Now, let's talk about, so many people have the view that these early warning signs, especially for inmates that are presently at the correctional center. So on the point, how you,
which is overcrowded.
Yes, how you, are you redoubling efforts to see that they are safe and we don't have more cases coming up from there?
Yes, certainly. I can safely say that yesterday I was with the Director General, the Deputy Director General of the Sierra Leone Correctional Service. I was with them throughout the day just to ensure that we put necessary measures in place to ensure that another inmate does not come up sick, or an officer does not come up sick. The measures that we've come up with are: one, we've transferred all inmates who are at the remand section at Paremba Road Correctional Center. Just after transferring them, we fumigated.
So where?
I'm coming. Okay. I'm still explaining. Just after transferring them, we fumigated the cells in which they were staying, just to ensure that we do not leave any droplet behind or an infection behind, so that the ones who will be taken there, who we removed from the male reintegration center situated along Jomo Kenyatta Road here in New England, the place that used to be referred to as Special Court. I'm sure you know that place. So that's where we used to keep some inmates, especially those inmates who have 6 months to serve or below. We usually take them out of the Paremba Road Correctional Center and place them in the male reintegration center. That is why it is called male reintegration center, because we are preparing them to reintegrate back into society.
For skillfulness.
Yes, but just before that, during the Ebola, when Ebola came into this country, even the place where they were supposed to be deemed from the sickness, they contracted it there, which were the hospitals and clinics. But for us as an institution, we were able to keep Ebola out. That was not something we got much credit for, but I'm announcing it now so that the public understands how professional we can be in terms of handling viruses. It is just that this has come at an unfortunate time, and truth be told, the corona is more contagious, but it is not as deadly as the Ebola. I'm not a medical expert, but you don't need to be a medical expert.
Let us assume here now, Leslie, that this overcrowded Paremba Road prison is to be decongested, and inmates there are to be relocated. Obviously, the other correctional centers across the country are also congested, overcrowded, so to speak. Why should we say these inmates, if they are to fumigate the entire correctional center, the cells, so to speak, where should we say they will be transferred to?
Fine. So I was still explaining. That place, the male reintegration center, which was referred to as former special court, we used to use it during the Ebola time because we did not used to keep inmates here. We started using it during the Ebola period as isolation center. So whenever a new inmate is coming in, instead of taking him directly to the Pademba Correctional Center, we placed him at the male reintegration center for the 21 days incubation period, after which if we think he's good, then we relocate him to the Pademba Correctional Center. So we are going to use the same measures now. We should have done that, but just as you said, we were challenged with the issue of overcrowding. So we had less choice on our hands. So we had to make use of the spaces we had in order to avoid congestion, especially at the Pademba Correctional Center. So yesterday, a team from Worldwide Concern and Emergency Operations Center came to us, and they came to observe the cells at the male reintegration center. After observing, we had to fumigate the cells, as well as we fumigated the cells at the remand section in Pademba Road. So we had to relocate the inmates at the male reintegration center to Pademba Road Correctional Center, the remand section specifically, and we had to transfer all the inmates in the remand section into the male reintegration center as an isolation spot now for us. So that place will be our isolation spot.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leslie. Continue to stay with us in the program. Let me quickly come over to Solomon Jamiru. Having heard from Leslie Koshas about interventions that the correctional center has taken, to curtail any further detected case of COVID-19. Now let's take a brief general assessment of from the EOC point of view. Now we have an inmate who escaped from a quarantine center, and it seems as if we have to strengthen our efforts in ensuring that people that are in quarantine homes, don't keep escaping from quarantine homes and coming to communities and spreading the disease. So from the
and that will include provision of basic social amenities that they need, which is why perhaps some people do not want to be quarantined.
Yes. Well, absolutely. The systems and policies and procedures regarding the emergency, these are things that we are always reviewing, and as and when lapses emerge, we always try to address them. But security all over the world. I'm not saying this to justify whatever lapse that may have occurred, but even in the world's most advanced and places, in America, you had the person who was number one on FBI on drug cartels all over the world. He escaped. So you could experience jailbreaks sometimes, and that does not mean you don't have security. But I think this is something that we have to own up to and take responsibility so that we build up. And I believe, as I feel very comforted by what the representative of the Correctional Center has said, because I'm also beginning, I believe that this is the first time that we're really having something, Ebola, it never happened. But I think we all will learn from it. So you recall again when I said, it is possible to have the virus. At a particular point you may be tested, it may not be transmissible, and he just confirmed that they did the temperature test, and
as in the case of Italy, before the index case.
Yes. But what I think is important is moving forward, what do we do? So it's not just confined to what happened at the remand center. It's also about what happens at checkpoints. It's about what happens now in quarantine homes. So I think the system as a whole, we have to learn from this and make sure that we scale up on security.
How long do we continue to learn when we are already being ravaged by the pandemic?
Well, learning is something that evolves. As long as we have things of this nature, it evolves. And
but the virus keeps taking toll on the country.
And the main concern here is to curtail any further spread. Because we don't want the numbers to keep rising every day. I mean, it's worrisome, don't you think?
And they say we keep learning. So learning should have ended now, especially from the Ebola experience. And at this point in time, learning should have ended. And robust measures should have been taken. Those who have been taking bribes, collecting bribes at checkpoints, or allowing people to frivolously move about when not necessary, should be addressed head on. And those people who are supposed to be in charge of quarantine and providing the basic social amenities and are not providing them and allowing people to move out of quarantine should be addressed head on.
Whatever we do now will not stop cases from emerging.
Why?
because that is what is happening with COVID. The difference between COVID and Ebola, and the experts will tell you, and it's a global fact, the figures are exponential than Ebola.
So Solomon Jamiru, are you
So
saying
what we can do is
more cases
what we
in
can
the coming
do.
days?
I would not be surprised if we have more cases, and I have always said, and this is my posture, when you're dealing with a public emergency, say it as it is, because an informed public would be a prepared public. I will never get to a forum where I can say to somebody, don't expect another figure tomorrow. It's possible by today we have figures, and once we have them, we report them at 11 a.m. This is just the fact. As we are sitting here, every minute, every hour, all over the world, cases are emerging. It's not just Sierra Leone, it's all over, even in the world's most advanced health systems. So if that is what the fact is, the people have to understand that that is the fact. So that is why, as a government, we believe that the inter-district lockdown will curtail the spread. Curtailing the spread is what we have to do, but the government...
has it helped in any way?
It has helped.
But it was during, Mr. Jamiru, it was during this partial lockdown, it had strict restrictions of movement, that McKinney had their first case.
Yes.
Tonkolili have had the 2 cases, and Kenema now has 3 cases during this very lockdown.
And so it's not just Sierra Leone.
And it was only the virus was only in Freetown.
It's not just in Sierra Leone, but you can never stop people in Freetown from moving. And even when people move, you have justifiable cases why you move. So the best government can do is to curtail the spread. But there is no government in the world that will say to its people, by tomorrow morning, don't expect any other case from COVID-19. It's not a possibility, and Sierra Leone will not venture to mislead the public.
Now, have you corrected, as the EOC corrected those mistakes that led Tonkolili, Bombali and Kenema to record cases?
It was not a mistake. It was a natural occurrence. It's a logical trend. It has to happen because that's what the trend is that defines COVID-19. All we have to do is to curtail the spread, and that is why we have instituted and extended the inter-district lockdown.
Thank you very much, Solomon Jamiru. Quickly, Leslie could show us before we close. Now, what more assurance will you want to give the public that we will not continue to report more cases from the correctional service?
Well, my assurance is this, the public do not understand this, but we have trained and qualified nurses from different medical schools. And we also have a medical doctor in residence from the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. So they will be implementing what they studied in their different medical schools, and they will be using their experiences they've had in the past, because some of them have worked in hospitals before coming to work with us. And another assurance I'm also giving them is the fact that this inmate who is positive now was in the hospital in the Pademba Road Correctional Center. So these inmates who were in the hospital as well have also been transferred from the Pademba Road Correctional Center, have also been placed in the Male Reintegration Center separately from the remand inmates, because these so-called inmates who has tested positive mingled with remand inmates and also mingled with inmates who were sick in the sick bay at the Pademba Road Correctional Center. So I am assuring the public that we do our level best to be on top of situation, and at a time like this that we are called upon to show what we can do professionally as an institution, we will do the very, very best we can do so that the sick does not spread.
All right, thank you very much, Leslie Cole-Shires from the Correctional Center. It's a pleasure having you here this morning. Many thanks to Solomon Jamiru. He's a spokesman
for COVID-19 national response. So, still on the same issue of the inmate that has been tested positive at the correctional service, the notice actually came from the judiciary, the judicial arm of government, and which is represented here now in the studios by Moses Lamin Kamara. Welcome to our program here.
Good morning, Moses.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Now, you issued a press release with regards the inmate that was tested positive for COVID-19, and before this time there was a press release also from the Sierra Leone Bar Association, but we'll come to talk about later on in the program as to whether there is any linkage between these two press releases as to ways of preferring solutions to curtailing the spread of the disease. Now, from the judiciary's point of view, what's the present status now as we speak?
Now, when we were informed on Sunday about this incident. You know, we have been issuing out press releases. First, we reduced the number of court sittings in the country. We further reduced the number of litigants accessing the courts in the country. We said that, like, for instance, the biggest court, the court number 1, High Court number 1 and High Court number 2, the actual capacities will be 200. It was reduced to 40, and later we further reduced it to 20, and we ensure that some certain court sittings, they come up on alternate days. That was a recent press release we did before this one. And we are doing all of these things to ensure that we break the chain of transmission. We also instructed that everybody that is accessing our facilities all over the country must use face masks and must ensure that we maintain the principle of social distancing. We have been doing it, but unfortunately we got this case from the side of the judiciary, because I strongly believe you have got the background from showers and you have also got the background of other aspects of contact tracing from the Honorable Minister, who is serving as a spokesman. What we did for the judiciary, we issued out a press release, and there are several portion instructions we came out with, and it was done in consonance with the Inspector General of Police and the prison, the head of prison, and His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice. On our own side, we have decided that we should stop all court operations all over the country. The principal reason for this particular action is to ensure we break the chain. Now, let's look at this case. This is the first case, and we are concerned about inmates who are there. This person escaped from a quarantine home, and within the process, there is somebody that he has to pay, and this person apprehended this person, this case 90, and took this person, this case 90, to the police station. It's a lawful process. The police, they tried and they charge to court. It's a lawful process. And he came to court and he appeared before the magistrate and he was remanded. A lawful process. Nothing wrong about it. But within the aspect of exercising our lawful processes, from the police, come to the judiciary, come to the correctional center, because the remand warrant here shows that yes, he did appear before a magistrate and he was sent on remand. You understand? Now the case has been confirmed. So in the wisdom of the Honorable Chief Justice, he decided that all court sitting must stop.
Right, now, Moses, when recommendations were made, to reduce the number of inmates that goes to court, what was the number you arrived at before we got to this point?
Okay, now for the big court, like I told you, the High Court number 1 and 2, the actual capacity is 200. It was reduced on our first press release. It was reduced to 40.
Right.
And later it was reduced to 25. And for all smaller courts in the country, it was reduced to 10 people, to the extent this includes lawyers and litigants, including the magistrates and judges, and to the extent that we issue passes to people, even to journalists. We give them pass so they could not easily access the court. So there were strict instructions that were given to the police to ensure that we maintain social distancing and we curtail the access of people, the number of people having access to our facilities.
Now, you've heard from Solomon Jamiru, when we just admitted him here. Some things he made mention of is that they are not sure as to whether we'll have more cases today, and they will not want to say we'll have more cases today or not, because we don't know how the disease is really going. So since we're not aware of when we have to, COVID-19, we'll start having a reduction in number of cases. What I want to ask, instead of putting a hold on all court sitting, is there no need for you to, reduce the number again, ensure that inmates who access court buildings, are properly checked, their temperatures are checked, they go through the normal process of hand washing, using their gloves, just so that, sittings can keep going on and they can access justice. You cannot in the midst of COVID-19.
Let me just say it. war is not just the physical activity of using arms and ammunition. What we are currently, this is even more bigger than the civil war, you understand? And we must do everything possible to ensure we break the chain. Our fight is to break the chain of transmission. One, you need to be aggressive to visitors if they come to your place. You need to be aggressive because no one is trusted. You need to maintain social distance. You need to use your face masks and other things. We must accept that. And equally, every Sierra Leonean, we are praying that this thing, if you can ask each and every Sierra Leonean, they will tell you that we want this thing to end now. But what is the fact? The fact is that we are expecting more cases because it has moved at community level. But one thing that we want to assure, why we decided, the Honorable Chief Justice decided to take the 1 month, you understand? Now, when he came to court, he had contact with prison officers. But when he was taken to remand, he had contact with those at the truck, you understand, and also at the cell. What we got, there were 47 in that cell, you understand. And later he was transferred to the hospital, and they had 26 of them who were in the hospital. Now, assuming that if we would have closed court, you understand, if we would have closed court, it would not have happened. But equally, whilst we are putting measures based on the rate at which the COVID is moving, you understand, we are able to achieve a lot of judgment. We are able to decongest. We are able to try so many cases, you understand. So we are able to reduce the number.
The suspension of court hearings is indefinite, yes?
No, it's for 1 month. And the essence of the 1 month, we believe that within the 1 month, all those that he has come in contact with, signs and symptoms will be manifested at that time.
Okay, but aside of that, Moses, aside of that, we have other cases in court. You know, we have civil matters, you know, people have other things.
They say justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes, we must state that indeed this is a laudable venture because we have to join government in the fight against COVID-19. But we have to be a bit logical here, looking at it from another angle of people who have all the cases.
Speedy trials with the congested prison.
Trials going on.
I have told you, we are much more concerned about inmates at various correctional centers. And before now, I'm coming. Before now, we engage on various issues. We ensure that we fully implement the bail policy. We have been granting bail. We have decongest the prison, though it is not in the actual capacity because it was built for 320 people. You understand? But at a time when it was 2,000 and above, we reduced it to 1,200 for the male correctional centers. In other facilities, you go to Kabbalah, you had it when we embarked on this special session to ensure that we decongest and we ensure that those who should be there, they should be there. But what is the good thing about this? You know, there are certain times, why do you think the president moved for a state of public health emergency? That is to say, we are not in a normal situation. When we are talking about a state of emergency, we are saying some of your rights as citizens, give it to us. We are in war. We are in unstable situation. There are certain times when we will take certain action that is not in your favor. So when in a normal situation, it contravenes your fundamental human rights.
So Moses, quickly before we go for break and take the next issues. Now that the correctional service takes orders from the court, one way or the other, from the judiciary, so to speak, what further measures are we expecting to be applied now that this has happened?
We have agreed even with the police that for minor issues you grant bail. The police should be given bail. Because for us on private criminal summon, we are not accepting it for the time being. Because we are expecting people to be peaceful and be focused and be prayerful at this particular time. It's not an issue of conflict. We know even I'm coming. We know it is in
minor bail
we are saying.
Minor bail by the police. Quickly, minor bail by the police is what?
Yes, minor bail by the police is what. For major offences, we have asked them that they have their facilities. You understand? That they should get these people there for the time being. We have just said this thing should be 1 month. You understand?
Okay, thirdly,
and thirdly, we have ensured that none of our facilities are in operation effective today till the end of the 1 month.
Thank you very
These are
much.
the decisions we have
Moses.
taken.
It's a pleasure having you in the
And
studio.
still to come in the program, $30 million for phase 2 of the fiber optic networking in Sierra Leone. Government signs an agreement to boosting the economy through internet connectivity. Plus, health service workers concerned over the conditions under which health workers currently work in the response to COVID-19. But first, let's have a commercial break.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available Brown Gold Natural Cocoa Powder, Sunny Gold Brown Sugar, Meat Fufu Flour, Shito, Pisa and Moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Hillsborough County has teamed up with the Department of Health and other public health and safety agencies to address any impacts the virus may have on our local community. To help prevent the spread of the coronavirus, here are a few tips you should know. Practice proper hand washing by using soap and water and wash for at least 20 seconds. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if you cannot wash. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Cough and sneeze into a tissue and throw it away. Clean, high-touch surfaces frequently. Some examples include doorknobs, credit and debit cards, cell phones, keyboard and mouse devices, and toilet handles. Stay home if you're feeling ill. If you have any flu-like symptoms, avoid contact with the public. Avoid sharing personal items in spaces with those close to you. Seek medical care early if you're feeling sick. Symptoms of the coronavirus can include fever, coughing, and shortness of breath. Seek medical care if you develop these symptoms or if you've been traveling or have been in close contact with a person who has traveled from an area with an ongoing spread of COVID-19. We encourage you to visit hcflgov.net/staysafe for up-to-date information and tips.
You're watching Good Morning Sierra Leone on SLBC.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is the Breakfast Good Morning Sierra Leone program here on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation SLBC. We're broadcasting live from our New Englandville studios in Freetown. We continue with the rest of our broadcast this morning. The Sierra Leone Health Services Workers Union, to demonstrate the support in the fight against COVID-19, donated food and non-food items to the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. However, the union frowned at their non-inclusion during the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Finance and other health organizations. In lieu of the above, it's recommended, amongst others, that government provide quality and adequate PPE to health workers, medical equipment, consumables and non-consumables. Well, to talk further on their recommendations, we've been joined in the studios by Sheikh Mahmoud F. Say. He is the Secretary General of the Union. Good morning.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Yes, thanks very much for joining us. So, why were you not involved in the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding? Do you have any clue on that?
Well, not necessarily, because to us it's a shock, because we've been partnering with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation for the past 30 years or more, because this organization was formed way back in 1985, And it is the only organization that has collective bargaining certificates that we normally call CBA, as enshrined in the Regulation of Wages and Industrial Relations, Act number 18 of December 1971. So I believe when it comes to matter of organization operating within the health sector, I think we should be number one.
Why not the Medical and Dental Association, which was a part of the MOU signing, or which is the umbrella body of all health workers across the country?
Well, I am referring you to the Regulation of Wages and Industrial Relations. Ours is a trading movement. The Salon Medical and Dental Association is a professional body.
And why should the union, your union, be a part of that MOU signing?
Because
convince us.
We represent all workers below supervisory level of all cadres. When you talk about nurses, MCHs, SHN, porters, security, drivers, all workers from grade 1 to grade 6. So we should be part of that.
So what difference would it have made if you were part of a signing of a memorandum of understanding?
Compared to what has already been done?
Value addition in the fight against COVID-19?
Let us make things very clear here. We are not against what government did per se. And if you look at the opening paragraph of the press release, we commended the government for the actions taken so far, for declaring the state of emergency, the 3 days lockdown, interdisciplinary lockdown, and the provision of allowances, payments of pay. We commend them, but they need to do more. Why? You have some of these provisions already made by government, like these allowances of 1 million per week. It's only limited to nurses working at holding centers and the treatment centers. And this is a public health something. When someone is sick, the first place of all is the health centers. So we have nurses there who are working there presently. They are pin coded nurses, but they are yet on salary. So they do not benefit. All we are saying, we want government to extend this thing, to include all categories of workers.
Wouldn't that be too much on government?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not the spokesperson for government, but we believe.
But I'm just asking, considering the fact that these people are not directly, they underline the word frontline health workers in this response.
Okay. My conviction is this: every worker working at a health facility is vulnerable, even the security, because he's the first person you have to have contact with.
Take the animal farm, for instance. They say all animals are equal. But
others are more equal than others. Judge Owen, that yes. I know.
So analyze that with the current situation.
What I'm saying, no matter whether you are working at the front line or not, we are asking government to consider other category of workers, even if they do not get the same package. Well, let them be included.
Well, we need to understand that you donated food and non-food items to the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. Yes. Was this done in lieu of your own contribution or in supporting government in the fight against COVID-19?
Yes, we donated some food and non-food items.
So what quantity and what precise items are we talking about?
Well, I cannot tell about quantity, but we are talking about Veronica buckets, we are talking about hand sanitizers, and of course soap. And as recently as 4 days back, we donated food and non-food items to the nurses being quarantined at Commerce and Hill Court Road.
So do you feel dissatisfied because, having made this kind of distribution to government, at the end of the day, you saw government signing a memorandum of understanding, other organizations were included and yours was not part of it? Is that the reason? You might want to say, we've been there for you, we've been showing we're committed to the fight, and at the end of the day, this is what we get. Is that the case?
Like, are people saying Creole quotes? I don't crappy on that.
That is SO2.
SO2.
Yeah, yes. I like your analysis anyway. And just after the signing of that MOU with other health organizations, we got several calls from our members in all the country. Oh, check. Why are you not part of that signing process? They see us as maybe we've not been active enough to be part of that process. But I think...
Have you been?
Of course, why not? Yes.
Is it only in these times, yes, or
in previous times it was very effective.
Because
in previous time, like for example,
I assure you, many people, not like us journalists who have been reporting issues across the country on a daily basis, many Sierra Leoneans will be shocked to learn that this organization existed before now.
well, that's your perception. But I want to assure you that go to Makeni, go to Pujao. In fact, we have offices all over the country. Go to Bo, I can give you
You may
the process.
have, but the shock will be that this existed because it has not been possibly doing the work it was supposed to
Oh,
do.
we agitate for workers' rights for better terms and conditions. Every 3 years we meet with the Trade Group Council that we call the Public Utilities Trade Group Negotiating Council. We meet with the employers.
But you're not seen or heard like the teachers' union and other unions.
Well, normally trade unions in general, we are not too friendly. We believe in our actions other than just going over the media to make some kind of or what have you.
Okay.
So upon channeling your concerns, have you received the response from government or the Ministry of Finance? Has issued any response so far?
Well, not yet, but hopefully we believe that they will respond because we've been partnering with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation over these years, and they've been very much cooperative with us. Because like for last year we undertook a tour that took us to 9 districts and all the rest of it. They gave us some logistical assistance.
Sheikh Sise continues to stay with us in the studios. He's the Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Health Workers Union. Now, this phone, like Adamas, usually we get internet connection, but we cry foul from the telecoms operators of being cheated to a large extent. But to some extent, most parts of Sierra Leone is not internet connected. Well, that's talk less, however. Even the call network is not available. But government is trying to boost that up, however. President Julius Maada Bio, through the Ministry of Information and Communications, has fully kick-started his agenda of digitalizing the entire Sierra Leone as promised in his 2017 campaign manifesto, realizing that to participate in the global economy, every country requires to be digitized. President Bio has successfully negotiated and secured $30 million loan with 1% interest to ensure effective implementation of the fiber optic network project tagged as Phase 2. It will boost both public and private sector economy, thereby activating the entire engine of the economy of the nation. Mohamed Jallo, Acting Director of Communications in the Ministry of Information and Communications, joins us in the studio to explain more on that. Welcome to the program, Mr. Jallo.
Thank you very much.
You said it is aimed at boosting the country's economy. How?
Okay, so first of all, for those who were doubting why government will go to the length of investing in the digital technology, the current situation we find ourselves clearly shows that in the digital world that we live in today, your digital infrastructure is as important as your electricity, is as important as your road network. So because currently governments have asked to stay put, but life is continuing. So we have been able to continue running government digitally. Cabinet is now meeting digitally. His Excellency has been able to engage with his colleagues in the sub-region and wider world through digital technology. So it therefore justifies the investment that government is making in digital technologies. Now I come to the importance and impact of this project. You agree with me that even with the effort that has been made in the past, we're still grappling with challenges in terms of high costs, in terms of access, etc., etc. But in order to address this, the government saw it fit that, first of all, we have to extend the reach of the fiber backbone to the remaining districts. So this project is going to cover, one, the remaining district that we are not covered in the previous project will now be covered in this project. About 9 districts will be covered.
In what sense? How?
So currently, Sierra Leone is connected to the rest of the world via the submarine cable, the ACE cable that is landed at the Lonely Atlantic Beach. So that's like our ship lane as far as digital technology is concerned. But when you import the goods from abroad in terms of digital communication, whether it's your WhatsApp, your Facebook, they come at the port at the Lumley Beach. You need to carry it across the country. So the fiber backbone that we're talking about is like the invisible superhighway that government is constructing, just as how the Ministry of Works will say we are constructing 50 kilometers of road. So what this government is now doing, we are going to construct about 640 kilometers of virtual roads, so that when our goods in terms of communication arrive at the port, we are able to swiftly take them to the rest of the country in a more robust. So the backbone is to give us that virtual superhighway when it comes to connectivity, so that the districts, most of the chiefdom headquarter towns, would be able to access the benefits.
But right now, Mr.
4G.
Jala, as we speak, the initial districts targeted for phase 1 are not complete. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was meant to have been transported through Kono and through the Guinea border areas of Kono, Pujeun, and a few other crossing points. Correct me if I'm wrong if that has been completed.
So let me just
my understanding is that it has not been completed due to one or two challenges.
So the phase 1 was completed, and I'll give you the footprint of phase 1. So the phase 1 fiber backbone cable cover, there are two projects. One was supported by the Islamic Development Bank, and the other one was supported by the Exim Bank, which was implemented by Huawei. So those two projects completed laying fiber from Lumley Beach through Maishaka, Rogbere, Cambia, Potloko, and to hit the Balamuya border post. So as I speak now, Sierra Leone has actually completed that leg. In fact, some time back this year, we were approached by the Guinea government that they were now trying to connect into our own system so that we have a loop going through Conakry. The other fiber cable also went from Maishaka, it drifted toward the southeast, went through Moyamba Junction, Teyama. There was a branch that went to Njala Mokunde. As I speak, fiber connectivity is in Njala campus. It went through Bo, Kenema, Juru, onto Gendema in the southeast. So that was the phase 1. Now I tell you why the phase 1 may not have been successful. Because if you look at this footprint that I show you, it's like a Y junction. This cable is going this way, hanging there. This one is going this way, hanging there. So if there is a cut in any part of this cable, then the rest of the point beyond it will go out of the loop. So that is why most of the major players have not been very much confident in relying on the fiber backbone. So what the phase 2 project is now going to do for us, first of all, is to complete the ring in such a way that if there is a cut in the fiber, the traffic will be able to be routed in another route. So like if you have multiple,
sort of a backbone.
Exactly.
A backup mechanism.
Yes, normally what we call the redundancy.
So how many more districts, or which districts precisely, are targeted in this? Apart from the fact that you are trying to create a backup system.
So the districts that are going to be targeted in this project, one is Kabala, Kwenadugu district. So we are going to run the cable from Makeni. We are already there is a cable terminated through Fadugu to Kabala to hit Kabala town. Then in the southeast, we have the cable running from Tokpombu, that is from the corner axis. There is a cable actually going on to Kwedu city. So we are going to take the cable from Jawama Sewafe through Tokpombu, Mano Junction, Shegbema, Daru, terminate into Kailam town. Then when you come to the south, we are going to take the cable from Moyamba Junction, Moyamba, onto Bambatok up to Rutai through Sirabu, go to Sumbuya, Koribondo, Puja. Then you have now completed 2 redundancy rings. So therefore you have now enough robustness into the network in such a way that if for instance the MNOs are to route their traffic, definitely they will not experience losses if there is a cut in water.
If we are to go by reports we are getting from SALCAB, the Sierra Leone Cables Limited, which is in charge, the custodian of the fiber optic cables at Lumley Atlantic Beach area, that the fiber is underutilized. So to speak, that the MNOs, the mobile network operators, and the internet service providers are not making good use, or not going to buy the the bandwidth or whatever from them. So if that is the case now for the first phase of this fiber optic, why do we need a second phase? So the second phase is absolutely necessary to address the inherent challenges in phase 1. Like I said, as a business corporate entity, they're definitely looking for uptime. So therefore, whatever network they would want to use, there should be sufficient redundancy in them. So therefore, this network, the phase 2 is going to create the needed redundancy, as well as to ensure that also what we missed in phase 1 also was that to also create what we refer to as an access network. So the 4 provincial district headquarter towns of Bombali, Potloko, Bo, Kenema, we are going to also create what we are calling district metro rings. What this does now is it becomes easier for the MNOs to take fiber to, for instance, if a district office wants to be connected, it becomes easier for you to take the fiber from the access ring to them. So this phase 2 is to address all the inherent challenges to reassure the business community that the network is robust enough for you to rely on it. And what it does for them is that it's going to bring down the cost of running their network, because currently, if you drive along the highway, you see a lot of microwave towers off the road. So what this is going to do now is you may not need microwave towers in between Freetown and Bo, because and that's expensive to operate.
It's very expensive for them to operate.
And the cost burden falls back on us, the ordinary consumers.
Exactly. So one of the intention of government is to ensure that you reduce the operation cost of the operators, so that they trickle that down into the cost of access for the citizen. So that is why government is keen that the phase 2 must go ahead.
Mohammed Mumimin Jallo, Acting Director of Communications, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, well, viewers. That's it. That's all we have in this edition of the Breakfast Good Morning Silent program here on the Ceylon Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC. But please be reminded that you have to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow is the midweek edition of the program. You can't afford to miss that. Many thanks to all our studio guests who made it a point of duty to join us here today. Many thanks to our able producer, Reginald Strasser King. And to all our technicians. Well, till tomorrow the program shall return. We have been your presenters. I am Adam Asila.
And my name is Patrick Sada. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Inkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Inkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done, and its flavor, it's amazing. This is Inkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base, and this is Inkulenu's Ghana's original spice palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available, brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Inkulenu palm soup base,
Ghanaian original taste.